She's literally gonna make me cry. Where I'm with my family.
My name's Jordan Bohan here with Real Talk and Reviews. I'm so excited to speak with you today. I just finished episode 7 last night, and it might be my favorite episode of television of all time now. It is
Wow. Thank
it is
you.
Wow.
so good. Julianne, this is a real shining moment for your character, and I think as well in episode 2, when she's kind of having that conversation with her son about what heaven looks like, I was tearing up.
Oh,
And he kind of describes it as everything here, but with more horses. And I think that was just such a beautiful moment. So I was curious.
Is that what I said?
That's what your son says. Yes.
Oh my God.
It's
Yeah.
so
That was
sweet.
so sad. That was a killer. Because
yeah.
I was trying not to like get too upset because it's your son and you need to be the mom and you need to make sure he's okay. But the directors were off camera being like to the actor, to the little boy, like, say, will you be there? I mean, they were saying like the darkest, saddest shit you've ever imagined. And I was just like, no, I'm just over here, just not crying.
Oh, yeah, that scene was beautiful. She did an incredible job.
It's incredible. So I was curious for you, how would you describe your own personal heaven or paradise? What would that look like to you?
Honestly, so you could go in any number of directions. I definitely want a body of water to be able to jump into because nothing, makes you feel better than jumping in the ocean or jumping in a lake. I remember it's not that fabulous, but I mostly think of places from my childhood where she's literally gonna make me cry, where I'm with my family. You? You? Next.
Well, me. Oh,
nice
we
lady.
talk.
Yeah.
I thought you were saying I'm in your paradise. I'm like, you are. I am.
And Sarah's
I'm like,
there.
oh,
Sarah Shahi is also
I
there.
love you too. Okay.
And ice cream.
Yes, my paradise would involve Christmas trees, a lot of twinkly lights, maybe a couple of Santa's helpers. Never.
Your kids are there. You already told me
My
your kids
children
are.
are there. I'm okay with a body of water. I'm more of a mountain person, but the only reason I don't like water is because I don't like sharks. So if we can take the ocean, make it a nice 93 degrees and no sharks, then we'll have that. I mean, it's my paradise, right? It's my heaven,
Yeah,
so I can
exactly.
design it
It could be
however I
whatever you
want.
want.
Puppies,
Everywhere.
my children. Yeah, there we go. Yeah.
Watching the series, I mean, so many things came out of it. There's so much to talk about, but I think a lot of what I was thinking about were kind of the parallels to today's political climate, to climate change and things like that. And I think it can feel very heavy and very serious at times, but I think also this series opens up a conversation around those subjects, and also there's a lot to take away from it that's positive. So I was curious kind of what you're hoping audiences are able to take away from this series.
The inception of the show was not meant to be a political comment. I'm not sure how long ago it was that Dan started mulling this idea around in his head, but
Dan said that he started actually, this idea came to him before This Is Us. So this was a long time.
Wow, that's been
in
a
the
while.
making. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, though nothing is really pulled directly from the headlines, but I do think in a very beautiful way that really good art can make you think. And in a way that art and life can sort of imitate one another. The purpose of really good filmmaking or a great movie or a great piece of art is to make you think, is to make you talk, is to make you reflect. So if there's anything that people can take away from this, though it's meant to be just a wild ride, it's meant to just be popcorn fun, it would be, I guess, to reflect and to see if there's any sort of ownership or responsibility in doing things differently moving forward.
Definitely, as far as like taking care of the earth, I think is a great thing to have people talking about, and for those non-believers, to maybe think again. And then it's also so exciting just to be on a show where there are so many twists and turns, and how you think you're just going to sit down and watch a political thriller, and then at the end of every episode, you're left with a completely different understanding of what this show is and who these people are. So it was very exciting to be a part of that, and I can't wait for people to see.
I think it's great that the release schedule allows people to kind of have a week to process and speculate.
Yeah.
And kind of come back and learn something new and kind of create new theories and things like that. I think it's going to create a really lovely conversation and buzz around the show. And you both have such incredible performances and bring a real human aspect to these characters. And it's just amazing. I'm very excited to have this out in the world and be able to chat about it with my friends.
Oh,
Thank
thank
you
you so much.
thank you.
That was beautiful.
Hello, I'm Jordan with Real Talk and Reviews. Super excited to chat about this show today. I think episode 7 has to be one of my top episodes of television I've ever seen. Incredible. While reading the script, there's so many twists and turns. What was one moment for each of you where your jaws just dropped, that you did not believe what you were seeing?
I would say, if we're going to talk about episode 7, I mean, the very last scenes where we are evacuating the White House, the choppers are trying to land, the people are rushing forward, Robinson grabs the gun and just starts laying into people. And you just realize, like, this is mayhem. This is
Yeah.
absolute mayhem. And as Krys, read this, I was both so filled with excitement and also so filled with dread. When you get material that good, it just feels like you've been asked to climb Everest. So feeling that maybe a bit of imposter syndrome, like, can I do this? Am I ready for this? But then also the train behind you being like, well, you got to go to work in the morning, so you better do it. And just sort of like, you know, finding your legs as you walk was a real challenge. But I was so moved. I'm right there with you. I thought episode 7 was beautiful.
Yeah, man.
I think in episode 7, Dan does such a beautiful job of exploring loss and Sterling's character in particular. You really get an insight into his relationship and like the enormity of what he's losing. And for anyone who's experienced, losing a parent or a spouse or really anyone in their life, I think it's really going to hit home. I was crying reading it and, from life experience and just from his writing. And so I think that was really powerful and sort of such a tragic twist and moment.
There's so many, right? Like it's really twist packed, and it keeps coming, and you're on the edge of your seat, and things are getting peeled back and revealed each time. But the one that I thought of for whatever reason is just that while there are these big plot twists that let you know that this character did this or this was the motivation behind that, there's also little subtle things that happen that are just character based. And I think Julianne Nicholson turns in an incredible performance in this series. She's just really brilliant. And at the end of the second episode, she's speaking with her son, who is going to pass away, and she says heaven can be like anything you want it to be like, and he says I want it to be like this, but with more horses. And you see that we've witnessed already that these rides are around the town, sort of innocuous, and all of a sudden you understand the symbolism of that. And I don't know if you would call it a reveal in the same way as much as all of a sudden you just get this peek into the heart of the character who may be the villain if there is one. But as with everything Dan Fogelman does, nothing is one thing. Everybody's complicated and multifaceted. So while you get these action reveals and these mystery reveals, I think you also get these person and character reveals. And I think that's why the writing's exceptional. I'm so lucky to be part of it.
Yeah, all of these characters are so complex and multifaceted. And in a way, I think playing these agents is a bit of a parallel to being an actor in the way that, you have to show up and do your job and kind of put some of your personal stuff aside. So did any of these aspects of these characters come up maybe a bit easier to you than you thought?
I think you're 100% right. I think every single one of us in our everyday lives, regardless of what you do for a living, knows what it's like to have one face that you show the world and a different face that you show at home, and maybe even a third face that you only show yourself. And I think throughout this story, whether you are a Secret Service agent or you are the president himself, we're each sort of masking in many different ways and code switching in order to adapt and survive in these really crazy environments.
I just recently got to become an uncle in real life. And that was fun, especially after getting to play a character who goes by Uncle Billy to some of the characters in this show. And that's a layer of this very complicated, multifaceted character that I think is unexpected and awesome. But also just, I'm not a parent, but with this new young person coming into the world, my brother's son, I care in a different way about the future of this planet. And it's just been really exciting and terrifying and wonderful to look through that lens. And I think that's happening for some of these characters, and for Billy in particular. I think he sees the world now with the responsibility of the people that love him and look up to him. And it changes everything, right? And that's, again, the subtle twists on top of the complicated ones.
Thank you so much for taking the time. I really appreciate it. I cannot wait until the show is out and in the world. I think people are going to absolutely love it.
I hope so. Thank you so much.